All right, good morning and welcome to Breakout Room 2. We're going to be talking in this strategy all about meaningful academic discussion. And to get us talking about meaningful academic discussion, if we could actually start discussing, since we have 5 folks with us here, this will just take a few minutes. If you could come off of mute and be brave here at 8 a.m. right after break and say your name, your school, your content area. And then when it comes to academic discussion, we'd love to really be able to tailor our session and talk to what is working and how we can support with any challenges in your classroom so that we can really focus on how best to support you. So again, my name is Luke Mund, Manager of Educational Technology, and with me this morning is
EJ Rodriguez. As I said before, I am the coach for Comprehensive High Schools.
All right, who would like to start us off?
I'll go ahead and go. I'm going to avoid the camera though, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
My name's Lisa Hellman. I am a science teacher at George Washington High School. And what is working for me in the classroom is always having some kind of discussion or collaboration. Predominantly, I do it pretty informally in check for understandings or like Kagan strategies of turn to a shoulder partner or find someone. What I find a little more difficult is it works really well with my freshman students. I have a lot more problems getting some of my upperclassmen to talk to each other and engage with each other. And I also think that even though I have like the sentence stems and the academic dialogue kind of sheets available to them, sometimes I'm not getting the discussions that I would like in terms of depth. I'm getting like 1 or 2 sentence answers, like on a more informal realm, but like for a good 5 to 10 minute discussion, that's not happening in my classroom, and I would like to build that in.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. Hopefully we have some strategies here for you today.
We have to meet, Lisa. I'm coming to see Matthew at GW at the end of the week on Thursday. Maybe you and I can sit down. I mean, I know that you are the kind of person that will work like a monster through April to get everything done, but I'm here to support you.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Lee, and I work at Samuels Elementary, second grade, ELAE, all content. And in our classroom, we have discussion like pretty much throughout the day. So we do a lot in the morning. We start off with like sharing good things in our second step SEL lesson. Afternoons, we'll have afternoon meetings to have kids turning and talking, starting off with what's been going well throughout the day, what can they work towards to have a great afternoon. When it comes to academic discussions, the kids do really well connecting the content to their personal lives and making cross connections like social studies to literacy. I try to provide as much opportunities for kids to share their thoughts, whether it be just towards like in front of the whole class or turn in talks. They'll do like that Kagan strategy. They get up and then they think, pair, share is another strategy that they do. What is challenging for me is when we are having an open discussion, I usually have the same 3-4 kids who will raise their hand to volunteer. And the ones that I do call on, they'll say, but I didn't raise my hand. And I'll say, that's okay. You could still, respond. And I do give them wait time. I do give supports for my bilingual learners, for students who I know might be a little bit more shy. So I rephrase the question. I start it off for them. So I try to make my environment very welcoming and safe where they don't feel like nervous to share and talk. But I want to challenge my kids to think deeper and thinking about like the recent events. And with this current EdTech PDU, I've been connecting my students' learning to like real world applications, whether it be something that happened in the past or something that's happening now, not even necessarily in the US, but just, or it could be, but in other parts of the world. So we do have a lot of deep discussions about that. And I just want to broaden their thoughts and their knowledge about like, yeah, we're safe where we are here, but elsewhere it's not always the same. But I want to challenge my kids to continue having those deeper discussions with real world applications that can affect them. And even for second graders, I want them to know like we could still make an impact in the world now. So I want to learn more of like how I can, I guess, like pull in the discussions to kids who aren't readily like open, or like if they do respond, it's like a short one sentence. Like I want them to really think about this more. And I feel like thinking and talking about it will help them before we get to writing. So that's where I am and wanting to jump in this module.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing and trying to make those connections for your students.
I can go. My name's Carly Easton. I work at Denver Online Elementary, and I teach third grade there, all subjects. I think for discussion, obviously being online is a little different when it comes to like turn and talks and that kind of thing. But I try to utilize, breakout rooms as much as I can, and of course we have discussions like all together. And I feel like that generally goes pretty well. For me, what's challenging, I think, is having kids build on each other. I have a lot of, like, I've worked pretty hard when it comes to like accountability of like participating, but I've noticed that sometimes kids are like, okay, I was like, I agree. And that was like enough. And they, they have the sentence stem and they've used it, but it's not really like building on the discussion at all. So that is what's challenging that I'd like to work on.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
My name is Larkin Odell, and I work at Academy 360, which is a charter school in Northeast Denver. And I'm a Model 1 inclusion teacher, so I have 3 to 5-year-olds with a variety of disabilities in the classroom. We use a lot of core boards and assistive technology for a lot of my emerging language users. I think one of the greatest challenges that I have is that because the 3 to 5-year-old developmental range is just like a huge range period, let alone if you have any type of cognitive or specific learning disabilities. So I think trying to challenge students in different ways with such cognitive differences is a continual challenge for me to support. And then also, like, as Carly said, trying to get students to engage with one another and that back and forth the social challenge is also an added opportunity in our classroom.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all of you sharing, and this really will help us tailor what we're talking about today and the challenges that you all are having and the successes that you're having. So thank you for being open and honest. I know that it is early still, right after break. So let's jump in and hopefully we have some takeaways.
Well, I wanted to add to the to that feeling that Luke just expressed. I'm amazed by the wonderful amount of work that you guys are doing. So I completely congratulate you on all the efforts you are doing. Teaching is a very demanding profession, it. But listening to you, to the things that you are trying out and the thoughtfulness of what you are trying to do has been inspiring to me this morning. So thank you so much for sharing. We wanted to present this small video to you to start a conversation with a reflection basically about how does this look like. And I chose this video, which is a 1-minute video, to help us to kind of get an idea of what can be done.
How many pounds?
So this is a first grade classroom. And we have some guiding questions in the presentation. What is leading here? What are students doing to deal with the rigor of the task, what decisions they are making and what actions they are taking to bring that higher level thinking that you guys are looking for. So listen to the video for a moment and then let's have a short chat about that.
Today's problem of the day. How many pumpkins are green? Remember, you do not need to panic. You will talk with your partner. Math Partners is a strategy that I use daily. I want them to be able to not only get an answer, but explain how they got that answer. The first step is they work to solve the problem on their own, and then they discuss it with a partner.
So I got 8 plus 3 plus 5 equals 16.
They have talking stems. Do I agree or disagree with you? How did you solve this? And how can you prove your answer's correct? They'll find out, hey, I did it a different way, but yet they still got the same answer. Then we come back together and I ask for someone who feels like they can teach it to the class, because that's what math is about, being able to explain the steps they took to solve the problem.
So then I added on 5 more and I got to 16.
Okay, then what are some actions that you saw the students doing to enhance the learning, to create academic vocabulary, maybe leading to writing and thinking, and to meet those high expectations that a teacher had there?
So in the video, I saw that she set up a really good structure for kids to know like who their partner is when it's time to do this math activity, and then also share like their strategies in solving that problem. But another step that she took to even go further was to pick someone to come up and like teach that strategy to the class. And then I think I saw like she even talked about like, do you agree or disagree? So letting kids debate and also explain like if they don't agree and explain why. So giving kids that like that voice in the classroom.
I also
Any
really
other-
liked, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Lisa.
I also really liked her incorporation of movement in those conversations. So not only are they talking, but they're getting up out of their seats and moving away from their area and talking to other students that aren't necessarily right by them. So not only are they getting to talk, but they're getting up and moving, which is really cool.
Any others? All right. Thank you so much, Kathy and Lisa, for pointing those things out. Then we also wanted to think a little bit about the why. Why is it that this is important? Why use collaborative learning? And the research has shown that educational experiences that are active, social and contextual, engaging, and student-owned lead to better and deeper learning. The benefit of collaborative learning include development of higher level thinking, oral communication. You know how difficult it is to develop that, but this provides opportunities to develop that those oral communication skills. And it includes development of higher level thinking, also self-management and leadership skills. That was study done about a year ago, presented a year ago actually, by the Center for Teaching and Learning and Innovation at Cornell University. Then, and now that we have presented the why, we wanted to go back to the CRE connection. We're talking about high expectations to maintain consistent and clear high expectations for all students. Using the DPS practice 1, engaging students in rigorous, engaging and differentiated tasks and activities with a comprehensive knowledge of content area and curriculum. With key action 2, supporting students in analyzing, comparing, justifying, and providing their solutions. And also action 4, present tasks that have high cognitive demand and include multiple solution strategies or viewpoints and representations. So what we're going to do today will help us do some of these. There is one document that you guys might not be very familiar with that we wanted to bring to you some points in there. And Luke is going to move us to the next slide with the PII.
Yeah, so this is the priority implementation instrument, and I kind of teased it before in our intro. And just saying that this is what the district is using to actually say, what does this look like in a classroom? So our session is all about practice 2 of grade level text and tasks, and that is the meaningful academic discussion. And it's really pushing towards what you all 4 were saying about having really great discussion and making sure it's academically based, and that the students are going more than just like, I agree, right? That they are being able to have that discussion back and forth, that they will be able to have that socialization. And then I appreciate Lisa calling out, getting up and moving and coming out of maybe their safe space so that they can push and challenge each other's ideas. And so that's what this is all about here. And it's really distilled into these 5 main points. So students respond to each other's thinking. Students attempt to use academic language without prompting. Students use trans language, which we're going to talk about today in this session. Writing is definitely part of preparing students for discussing and or locking in their learning after a discussion. And then also after a discussion, the teacher prompts students to lock in their key learning. So these are like the 5 main points from that implementation instrument. And then just a connection to what's coming next year. If you guys have heard that they're in final draft phases of the priorities for next year, and this meaningful academic discussion is definitely on the horizon again for next year, is that they are going to have this plan for engagement in meaningful academic discussion through content language feedback. And so this is definitely going to be a conversation that we're continuing to have as a district, which I love, because I think meaningful academic discussion is just so important and really pushes our students' learning and to lock in what they've learned as well.
Then, as you know, this is a kind of the format that we follow, these couple of tracks. You have the opportunity to follow us, Luke and I, going through the different tools and some activities to familiarize yourself with the different characteristics of the tool. So we have here some slide deck, the flip all-in-one, the Jamboard overview and all-in-one as well, and the presentation that we're going to be using as we move through today. You also have the opportunity to work on your own if you want to workshop it, if you feel like you have plenty of skills on this and you want to actually produce something right now, to apply to a lesson and then share that at the end of the session. That's all right to do, and we have those resources there for working independently on the right column, the flip all-in-one, and also the Jamboard resources.
We're going to go ahead and jump on in. If you want to work independently, totally fine. If you want to follow along with us, we welcome you in our discussion of Jamboard.
All right, then Jamboard started as a hardware piece, just like a smart interactive board, but then it moved everything to the cloud. And it's being used mostly as a cloud tool. Jamboard supports 50 concurrent users at the moment, which puts a little bit of a limitation for larger classes. If you want to have more than one class in one Jamboard, we always suggest to use one Jamboard per class to maintain things organized. And of course, you can always share Jamboards for people to look at later, but working in it, it takes about 50 people. All you have to do to use Jamboard is to declare it in the ATM, and there was one slide at the beginning of the session with a link to the ATM and the video on how to do that.
Yeah, so it is important because it is a post-13 tool according to FTC rules that you have, FCC, not FTC, that you have this reported and turned on. So if it's not turned on, I know we have several elementary teachers here, it does need to be reported, and then it's just a simple DOTS ticket. Your digital coach can help you with that if it's not on already, but you have to get that special permission for any K-8 settings. And Lisa, for GW, you're all good to go.
Okay, then I'm going to present my screen and kind of lead you a little bit on some of the characteristics of Jamboard. Let's see. Just give me a second and I'll get there. Okay, then this is a blank Jamboard page that I have in the Jamboard we are going to use today. But you can see the tools here. Basically, if you want to set the background to something different than a blank white background, you can actually do that. There are some models here for you to use. You can also use an image. And in there, you have the opportunity to upload an image from your hard drive, use a link to an image, use your webcam to take a picture of and create an image for that. You can also find Google Images. You can use one from the Google Drive and from Google Photos. If I go to Google Images, for example, and I look for sunset, I get a bunch of these wonderful, beautiful images. Since I like the beach so much, I'm going to go for that. I just came from the Dominican Republic visiting my brother and had a chance to go to the beach there. So here is a background that I set up. You can clear the frame if you don't like it and repeat the process to get an image that you like. I'm going to clear it. Just to use some, let me go to set background and actually use a white. You can zoom, of course. You have different options for zooming. You can also work on the different pages of the Jamboard. Here it gives you the opportunity to order them in any way you want to. You can also duplicate and delete different ones. So that's about the drop-down frame bar. The settings for the Jamboard are basically the 3 dots. And here you can rename, download as PDF after students have done some work in there and you want to save them to reference later as a PDF or to share as a PDF with other colleagues. You can save each one of the frames as an image. You can remove the Jamboard completely, make a copy, and you can also see the version history. The version history allows you to see what has been posted and worked on each one each one of the frames. It doesn't give you an idea of who actually posted what, but it gives you a list of people that have actually worked on it. I want to believe that Jamboard did that on purpose to actually allow for some privacy if necessary. If you want to, I lost it. I lost the Jamboard. Hold on, let me go back to it. Let me go back to the menu. Okay. Don't find my link now. Okay, let me go back and open a new one then. Certainly can find it.
Even tech people have tech difficulties sometimes.
Oh, tell me.
Apologies, we'll get it going here in just a second.
Yeah, let me. I just hovered over the X and it went away.
You can try Control-Shift-T and it'll open up the tab you just closed. I use it all the time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I have it back. Hold on. Let me go on to the media and present again. I'm almost there. Can you see it again?
Yeah.
All right, then let me move to that page, and now we're going to look at the tools. So here you have several options for pens. You have a regular pen, marker, highlighter, and a brush, and you can do different things with, at different levels of thickness, with colors, and all that stuff, of course. You can also, you have an eraser. The eraser actually, one of the things that I don't like about Jamboard in here is that the eraser doesn't have a customized level of grade with the eraser. You cannot actually make it bigger or smaller, I think. But but actually works to erase shapes and drawings and things like that. You have a selector, a pointer, basically. You also have a sticky note. And on a sticky note, you can use sticky notes to actually write your notes in there or add different reactions. For example, if I do control click, I have the opportunity to enter an emoji there. And you can see all the list of the different emojis there. And that can be actually posted as a reaction. You can also add images, and as students and users add images, the same menu that we went through as a background comes on, and you can select from where you want to load those images. Then you have the opportunity to enter also drawings of geometrical figures. You can add text, all that stuff. So they can, most of the time the text is used as titles, I guess, but the text can be customized for size also. And you have a laser pointer, very handy to actually highlight different ideas being presented, key vocabulary, and things like that that students need to focus on. So you can also undo and redo using the backward arrow and forward arrow. And that's Jamboard. It's a very simple tool. I was thinking that would be a good idea to try it out, doing some activities together. There is a link on the presentation to the Jamboard. Let me go back there to the first page. And I was hoping, Luke, can you post that link for me?
Yes.
Then put it, if you don't mind, to put it on the chat. So I think that I have, the share settings are correct here. Is anyone with the link?
No.
So if you don't mind to, I was hoping that you guys could post how you feel about this particular topic. The scientific evidence and is undisputably links global warming to human activity. Use a sticky note tool to add an emoji. Then we want you to react to 2 postings. So after posting your emoji, use a new sticky note to react to 2 partners' position. You can ask a question, agree, disagree, or be prepared to share why. So go ahead and put your fingers on it and let us know what you think about this particular topic. If you have any questions or difficulty, just let me know. All right, look at those emojis. Okay. Anybody wants to share something orally? Feel free to unmute and let us know a little bit about your thinking, why you strongly agree with this particular statement. You know, science is debatable always, although we all might agree, strongly agree with this particular statement. It's important to know why. So feel free to unmute and give us your thinking. I'm using my wait time. Okay, guys. Then let's go to the second page. You notice that here on the second chart, I actually added some supports for language, and you have heard the term translanguaging that we mentioned at the beginning. Jamboard can be a great place to put these language supports for the students to have the conversation. I agree with that. I have similar thinking. I also think that, etc. So I use the language of agreeing and affirming, disagreeing and challenging ideas, clarifying ideas, asking for evidence here. There are many different ways to approach it, but many times a teacher finds himself or herself fighting for space on the board to put these particular tools for the students to have. The students can use it in their conversations right from the Chromebooks, rather than actually having it posted somewhere on the wall and fighting for space with other things. Also, on slide 3, I use the vocabulary from the question itself. If you notice, you will find the words in the academic vocabulary: global, cost, human, activity, use, position. And on the right side, you notice that I did a comparison between Spanish and English. This will support my second language learners who are Spanish speakers. And you notice that many of these words are cognates, and they came exactly from the sentence. I'm not inventing anything new, using the sentence to actually, the prompt to actually build my vocabulary. And you can see that the word global matches the word global in English. Causó is very similar to cause, and I can actually compare these different parts of the word. For example, the past here, how the word is actually shaped in Spanish with that accent and the O to create the past, versus ED in English. I'm teaching my students of second language how these two languages work and what are some similarities and differences. You can see the cognate human to humano, actividad to activity, usar to use, and I can compare, hey, the termination of the word, AR, is for verbs, but we use the infinitive in English with the word to added to the, as a prefix of the word, posición and position, you know. And here are other examples at the bottom, other examples from different, from other words that we can actually compare. And that's what we call translanguaging, that comparison between the two languages. And you don't have to be an expert in Spanish. Many of you have had Spanish as a second language or other languages that you can use as a second language to do the comparison, or you can focus on the standard characteristic of the English language as well. Because why do we want to do that? Because we are the teachers of the language of our content. Nobody else is going to teach the language of math or the language of social studies, etc. The teacher in the content also owns the language of the content, and we want you to consider that as a as one of our responsibilities as well, because our students don't come with all the words learned. You know, we have to teach them. So I was hoping that you would try it yourself. Go to this the fourth page of the Jamboard, and I kind of try to guess what the words that I have here in Spanish, what are their equivalents in English? And if you don't mind to post there, you can use the text tool, or you can use a sticky note to write down what you think these words mean in English. Put it by the word, exactly, yeah, very good, very good. Beautiful. Anybody else? All right, resolve problem, beautiful. I like how you did that, you know? That's very cool. You know, students of second language, it's very funny how they miss these commonalities because of the fear of using the target language. And you can erase some of that fear by using Jamboard as a tool to create these type of activities and spend a couple of minutes, you know, teaching the language of the content. Muy bien, miembros, very good. Others, excellent. The second from the last is that esfuerzo is a little difficult. I put that one on purpose, but give it a shot. Give it a guess. How are we doing on time?
That's good. I don't know what esfuerzo is, so I'm interested in finding out.
Okay, then I look at that. The force. That's a. You know, it has to do with force. You're right. You are completely right. It has to do with force. I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to put a sticky note. Hopefully I'm spelling it right. You know, I'm a second language learner too. So.
The effort.
But you got the idea, you know, strength, fuerte, force. You know that it has to do with that. And then it's not a long lead to actually match esfuerzo to effort. Very good, guys. Awesome. Let's move to the fifth one. I was hoping that you could use one more tool, you know, pick a tool that you want to use to react to this particular prompt. What do you know about the civil rights movement of the 1960s? Just one piece that you would like to share about what you know about the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Then I want you to look at a couple of posts and react to them. And you can add a picture if you want to, or draw a reaction. Go ahead. I'm going to contribute to this one too. Wow, I didn't know that the Black Panther gave one of the first free meal programs for kids. I didn't know that. So I'm going to put an emoji there because I didn't know that one at all. So.
How do you put the emojis on?
Okay, and you're seeing me, if you look at, I'm still presenting. You notice that I'm going to cancel actually, and then I'm going to go to the sticky note tool. Once I open it, on my computer, I use the control key and then click. And you notice that this menu comes on and there is an option for emoji and symbols. So I'm going to pick my emoji. And let me see if I find the one that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a Amaze one. Oh, it went away.
The other way that you can do it too, because EJ's showing the Mac way, so if you have a PC, is that you can go to the insert image on the left-hand side and just search for a Google search of an emoji that you want. That's usually what I do with students because they're pretty familiar with how to do a Google search and insert a reaction to that.
Oh, okay, cool. And I'm not on a Mac, but I did try the control route on the PC, and that did work.
It did work. Sweet.
Yeah, I'd never
Yeah.
seen that before, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
the keys
that may
are
be a
in-
way to get them more engaged because I've tried this before, and sometimes it's like crickets.
Yeah, the keys are in a different place in the Mac and the PC, but they say the same thing. Control option, they are labeled the same. All right. Any reactions that you guys want to share orally from the postings of others? It's not over yet because we are still within a society that has systemic and institutional racism deeply embedded into its structure and functioning. Any opinions about that one? Voting rights was a big topic during the civil rights movement, of course, and it's still a big topic. The voting, what's the name of the act?
Voting Rights Act?
The Voting Rights Act is being threatened right now by different maneuvers, I call them. You would think that people want to vote in a democracy, but there are people interested in restricting the access to voting. Nothing wrong with doing it right, but restricting access might not be the best thing to do in a democracy. Thank you so much for reacting and using this tool. I'm hoping that you guys got some good ideas about how to use it in your classes and providing a platform for your students to share their thinking, criticize other thinking, and support other people's thinking, and bring some good high-level thinking to the learning. And I'm going to stop presenting and pass it to Luke.
Yeah, so I'll just reiterate what EJ was doing there and saying that the emoji reactions are just so awesome for students. It's a good place to get things started. And then it's great to be able to push students too of like, okay, now then you're going to respond to 2 other students with a sticky note instead of just an emoji, so that we're building that practice of the students interacting. But then as we identified at the beginning of our breakout this morning, is that really want to push students for that deeper, meaningful academic discussion. And a tool then for that would be the use of Flipgrid, which is now just called Flip. So if you've heard of Flipgrid in the past, now it is just Flip. And the use really for Flip for me is about a place that students are practicing their academic discussion, and it's a good place for them to get going with it. So as a K-8 teacher and then briefly a high school teacher, I had a lot of experience, like we identified again at the beginning, of just being able to get students going with their academic discussion, especially at the beginning of a term. So whether that's at the beginning of the year with your students or the beginning of a new semester in secondary, and being able to get the students interacting with each other and having that feedback, but it's in a practiced and more deliberate way than a conversation. This also affects our MLLs because it gives them planning time. So I'm actually on my own MLE or MLL journey myself in learning Spanish for the last 3 years. And just even having 1 minute of think time before I have to deliver a sentence or my own thinking allows me to formulate the words together. And that's what Flip can allow us to do. So I'm going to show you all how to do this in just a minute. I just want to get that cognition thinking here before we dive into the tools as to how we can use this. I will also say too, and Lisa, to your point about upperclassmen having a hard time having that discussion, getting out of their comfort zone, allowing our students to film a video that they can plan out really pushes them to think deeply. And I'll actually say with secondary students, I see that they are really good at creating videos, but not using it for academic discussion. So they're very comfortable, filming a TikTok or a Snap or something like that. But then when it comes to academic discussion, it's pushing in them and challenging them, but they know how to do it. They have that baseline, and our students really know how to speak the language of videos, and starting very, very early on. I can think of my youngest daughter grabbing the phone from me when she was just 4 years old and wanting to record videos. So our students of all ages can do this, and it's something that they're really used to using. And now we're just going to utilize that for academic discussions and how we push. So I'm going to drop in our link to the all-in-one here for Flip, and then I'm going to just circle back to our PII here real quick and saying our main objectives here of providing scaffolds for our MLLs, giving them opportunities to discuss, giving them opportunities to write as part of the process, and giving them academic supports. So I'm going to open up flip.com then, and I'm going to share this tab here. So I'm already logged in and ready to go with my class. It'll prompt you to create a class first, and you can see my different classes that I have going on here. So we have a group for DPS managers, and then you can see here's the class that I created for us. It's super easy. It walks you through step by step how to create a class, and then you're just going to create a discussion topic. So this is what a topic looks like when you create it here. You just basically post your prompt, give a little bit of supporting details, and then our students will have the opportunity to record themselves and give themselves feedback. Flip is a really interactive video product, again, a lot like TikTok and Snapchat, and we're not big fans of the TikTok and Snapchat in school, but we can use the same kind of tools and the same kind of learning to be able to encourage that academic discussion. They will have opportunities to put like blurs and filters and emojis, so you can give your own guidance as to how you want your students to be able to share that out as they go through it. It basically runs like a discussion board that's just virtually. So again, our students can prepare their thoughts, be able to put in a video, and then be able to then respond to each other's videos. Yes, and Kathy Lee, it is absolutely very much like Seesaw. If they can do a Seesaw video, they can do a Flip video, but the important designation with Flip is that then they can respond to each other's videos in a really easy to use way. And then they also have the opportunity to do like the filters and the emojis and the reactions and stuff like that. Or then they could respond with text to each other. So it is like Seesaw, but it gives you more functionality and gets the students really, really jazzed for it. So to actually make this into a native kind of connection, we're gonna just jump in here, and here is our Flip. I'm gonna drop the link into our chat, and wanna see everybody here, please engage with our discussion and say, how will you use Flip or Jamboard in your classroom? As you're thinking about this breakout room here, kind of bringing it all together, let's record some flips, and then you can even go to the next step and react to other people's flips and actually practice this. So this will be a combination of our first use of Flip and our culmination and feedback all in one for our session. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here and give you all time to create your Flip. Okay, and sadly, EJ and I have been talking a lot, and we've all been having a great academic discussion, so we're not going to be able to have time to watch these videos now, but they are posted here, and you can keep the tab open and watch the videos that we have posted. Me in a ridiculous celebration hat using one of the filters. So thank you so much for this awesome discussion. Really appreciate it. Here is our link back to our main room, which is where we're going to go and wrap it all up as whole group. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I appreciate the great discussion in our discussion breakout room.